Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Gamerpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bradford Carlton. Today, we are talking about storytelling. This seems kind of like a lame topic, doesn't storytelling? I mean, who wants to talk about storytelling? I'm a developer, or I'm a streamer, or I'm a esports team, or I'm a whatever, right? Like, what's storytelling got to do with me? That's for kids, isn't it? Brad, are you kidding me? Storytelling is like the most important thing any business can understand about selling. Like, you should call it story selling, not storytelling, because the way you present yourself, the way you present your product, the way you present your service, the way you present your game, the way you present your stream, the way you present anything is through a story usually. Okay, if you just tell people, yeah, we're a new team, we do this, and you just like list bullet points, that's not intriguing. It doesn't give me any excitement on what you're doing. I was just looking at a trailer for a new game. Trailer came out like a year ago. Somebody recommended I check out the studio. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. I took a look, and it reiterated the same point just over and over again. It said brand new action RPG that's set in this scenario. It's set in this, and it's going to have this. Like, okay, so like I went and I watched the next like trailer, like the walkthrough. Like, it's set in this setting. It's an action RPG. It's co-op. It's this, and like, how's that different from what you told me before? Like the next character reveal, it's set in this setting, it's going to be doing this, here's the features. I'm not sold on this game. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in the game. I don't know like what we're going to do in the game. I don't know what the point of playing this game is. I don't know like what's supposed to get me emotionally invested in this game that I was just recommended. I'm like, there's nothing. So like, storytelling is so important because it is what people actually want. It's not what they think they want. It's what they actually want. There's a total difference there, okay? People think they want certain things. That's never true. There's an old adage in selling that you tell them what they want and give them what they need. All right? If you have that type of service, you've got a good product because you're giving people the thing that they actually need as opposed to the thing that they think they want. The customer doesn't really know what they want usually. And that doesn't matter what industry you're in, doesn't matter what service you're pushing, it doesn't matter whatever. You have to give people what they need in order to get them to buy, okay? And so really sit there and consider what it is you're doing, the thing that you're pushing. If you are just sitting there talking about the bullet points, if you're talking about what they're called, the features of your product or service, we give you 5 hours of our time. We're going to make sure that you get these 3 documents. We're going to make sure that it gets filed on this by this date. And that's boring. That's super boring. And people like, back when I was an attorney, I would sit in a meeting with a client and they would tell me what their problem was, and I'd go through what we would do for them. Like, what we're going to do is we're going to draft up this document for you. We're going to make sure it's filed on the right date. We're going to make sure that we get the information from the other side. We're going to we just go through this stuff. And you could see clients' eyes glazing over and rolling back. And it's just this most horrendous process. It's like going to the dentist. You're only there because you have to be. But then there was other clients where, I would tell them, as an example, back when I was an elder law attorney, if they were coming in and they were in their 60s or 70s and I needed to get them a will or a new document or a trust or whatever, I would tell them about my grandparents and, the process of how my grandfather, he got Alzheimer's and we slowly watched him decline. And, thank goodness we had all the proper paperwork in place, because with the paperwork, we were able to make sure he was put into the right place and we were able to make sure he got the treatment that he needed. And we were able to take his license away and like all these things, right? By telling this story, they can see themselves in a scenario that's similar to what you're talking about. But if you just go and you talk about the 7 things that you do for them, or the 7 things that are happening, or the 3 games that you play, or how fun and exciting your community is, everybody's right. It's no different. It's not special in any way as opposed to the story. The story, like, storytelling is one of those things that humans have been doing for like tens of thousands of years, back before we had television, back before we had cave paintings, right? People would sit around a fire, assuming they had fire back then, right? But they'd sit around the fire and they would tell stories because there was nothing else to do. Like, what you going to talk about? How was your day? You were there with me the whole time. Like, what are we going to talk about? They would come up with stuff. Guess what? How many creation myths were created because people are sitting around going, that reminds me of how the wind first came about, right? They would tell a story and then they would tell their kid and they would tell their kid before they knew it. Like, that's how the wind is. Like, there's a thing that makes it go, right? So your product, your service, your company needs to understand the thing that you're selling is not necessarily the thing people care about. It's the thing that they're buying. Totally different. The thing they care about is the emotional reaction they're having to the thing that you're selling. Okay. You want to be able to get them excited. You want them energized, but it's not necessarily the character reveals. It's not necessarily the feature reveals. Those things are cool. What are they in context? What is this new character? What is their life like? Why am I playing this person? What's the point of that person? If you're a content creator, like, who are you? What makes you different? What makes you unique as opposed to the millions of other content creators out there? I was on phone calls with content creators for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Ran a campaign doing that. And every single person, what makes you different? Well, I have a fun, exciting community that, it's fun and has lots of laughs and it's inviting and we're good people. We have lots of fun. Okay, so you're not different than anybody else. Oh, no, we have fun. That's a given. That should be base level, no, absolute bare minimum kind of thing that your service, your product, your company provides. If you aren't providing fun, you're in the wrong industry. Gaming is supposed to be about fun, right? So you have to separate yourself somehow else. You do that by getting people emotionally invested in what it is you're providing. And you do that through stories. It's the way humans have been doing it for thousands and thousands of years. So maybe you should consider that. And I just a quick rant episode, I guess. Sitting there watching this trailer, I'm like, why would I play this game? Okay, the setting is gothic. Okay, cool. And the character, he's a vampire. Okay, cool. Why would I play this game? It's an action RPG, co-op, 6 players. Cool. Okay. What is, I play games for story, personally. And so I want to know what's happening. What is the mission I'm trying to accomplish? And I think pretty much all games are the same way. If you stripped out the story and it was just, wire mesh figures, no pictures on the walls of the dungeon you're going through, people would burn out really quick because it's not really all that different. Yeah, the mechanics may be different, but what else? What's more? Why am I invested in this thing? So that's what I got for you all today. So remind you all, organization is the enemy of sloth. Spend some time, go back. What is it that gets you excited about what it is you're doing? And tell people that. It's probably not just because your character does a certain action if you're making a game. It's not because you play a certain game. What is the reason you're there? And then talk about it. Talk about why. Talk about the feelings. Share with people. And if you do that, I guarantee your business will do better because that is what gets people interested in what you are and what you're about. Yes, you need shiny graphics. Yes, you need, catchy, flashy stuff because that's just how we work today, right? Nobody's attention lasts more than 3 seconds thanks to these guys. You have to have something more. So that's what I got for you all. I'm going to remind you all, don't be just a gamer, be a gamerpreneur.